I'm going to show you a go-to-market strategy that helps you get the traction that you need to put in your pitch deck and raise funding, especially if you're an early stage founder. You're raising seed or pre-seed funding and you don't have any customers yet. You need to get that traction initially rolling. This is going to be the video for you. I'm going to walk you through step by step. I'm making this video because I see so many founders mess up this slide. They kind of stumble and face plant, and you don't want to do that and come out with a generic go-to-market strategy slide, and especially not have the traction to get to those investors and show them that you are a founder worth investing in. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang, 7-time funded founder with 2 exits. That's just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times to your benefit because I use videos like this and my entire YouTube channel to try and help founders avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made, especially when raising funding at an early stage. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but I'm going to help you try and minimize the damage from those mistakes because you're going to learn from my lessons, especially when it comes to the go-to-market strategy and that part of your pitch deck. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer for Startups.com. If you're joining us from the Startups.com Accelerator, thank you so much for your support. And while you're here, if you appreciate this type of comment, I would appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Let's jump into the go-to-market strategy. And first, I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it. The wrong way is the PIS method. This is your typical standard way that founders tend to approach go-to-market, and it ends up getting them into trouble, and I'll show you how it works. But before I do, I want to say exceptions always apply. There's so many other ways that you could be doing this. I'm trying to educate you on the basics and things that I would be doing. Other people have different ideas, and learn from them all. They're all great. There's a lot of great advice out there, as much as there's a lot of bad advice out there. So I'm going to try and help you navigate the PIS method and explain to you the reason that I think it's the wrong way to do it. But remember, it's just my opinion alone. The PIS method starts like this. You start with your problem. You go out there, you look at the problem, and you say, I think I can solve this. You've got founder problem fit, you got founder market fit, and you start hacking away at your MVP. You are solving a problem. And that leads you to the solution. After the problem comes the solution. You are out there, you have your unique value proposition, and you're saying, I can solve this problem. That's how great startups always work. And then it comes down to sales. Can you sell the solution? What happens at this point is that founder-led sales are so important. Founders, you have to get out there and go one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat, and see if you can talk to users and get them to use your product, whatever stage it is, get them to validate your product, put down a deposit, initial traction, or pay full pop for the product. You get the best feedback you're ever going to get when you're trying to sell, and you tell the user the price. That's great information. That's great data that you need through the startup cycle. This looks pretty good so far. What could be going wrong? Well, the next factor comes into sales reluctance. Founders have this reluctance. They're scared to go out and sell. And this makes sense. You're used to developing product. It's fun to build product. It's fun to be visionary and imagine your solution going out there and saving the world from the problems that you're trying to solve. And so you go out there and you create the solution, but nobody wants to use it. And it's scary to go out there and actually sell. Get in front of customers, get their feedback, especially after you tell them the price, and they look at you with total sticker shock. I've been there. I've experienced all that. I understand sales reluctance. It's a psychological barrier that all founders are taught that they must overcome to be successful with their startup. So here's what founders do is they start advertising. You're out there and you're saying, hey, I'm advertising. The problem is you're advertising the solution. All advertising typically goes out there and says, we have the solution. Come use our widget. Come download our app. Try our SaaS platform, book a free consultation so we can sell stuff to you. We can sell our solution to you, present it, and get you to buy it. That's what typical advertising is all about. Now, here's where the next challenge comes into play. Do you understand your ICP, which is the ideal customer profile? Most founders do not spend enough time doing customer discovery, and they don't know who their ICP is. And you end up selling to everyone. And when you sell to everyone, you sell to no one. You have to niche down, and you have to figure out, who am I selling to? Who are the low-lying fruit in terms of being my customers? Who do I want to prioritize? It's like establishing that beachhead where you say, we are going to start, like Facebook did, at Harvard. We're going to sell to Harvard. We're going to get Harvard using our solution. Then it was Stanford, I believe. Then MIT. And they stayed with colleges. But they started at Harvard. Where's your beachhead? Too many founders try and sell to everyone, and their messages are too generic. Remember, if you try to sell to everyone, you end up selling to no one. And then your advertising starts to look like this. You start trying social, SEO, paid ads, influencers, and that's what founders end up putting on their go-to-market slide. When I get your funding, oh generous investor, I'm going to spend it on social, SEO, paid ads, influencers, and all the other plethora, that bucket list of all the go-to-market strategy, the marketing tactics that you can put out there, and everyone puts this list. It just looks like you cut and paste something out of a marketing book or a LinkedIn article, and you put it on the slide and say, this is what we're going to do, but your assumptions haven't been pressure tested. You've got no battle testing to prove that you've got teeth, and it's so generic, an investor will look at it and say, you know what, anybody else can do these marketing tactics. What makes you different? Anybody else can do this go-to-market strategy. Great ideas, but can you actually do it? Or how are you going to be different than your competitors who probably have more money than you to throw at these things, and you end up being in the middle of the pack, the mediocre middle, and you will not get to that product market fit. You won't even get the data to even understand how to adjust your marketing, your go-to-market strategy. And this is a big problem that sabotages a pitch deck before you even have a chance to explain it to an investor and show them that you can spend their money in a way that gets you customers in a hyper-growth, exponential way that can be systematized for scale later on. Let's say you did get that money. You found an investor ready to YOLO some money so you can try all these things. Then your burn rate is through the roof. You are spending money and you don't have $100 an ad to experiment, $100 a lead or a conversion. Trying to start at $100 and then eventually get that down to what, $8 that you need. It's not worth it. I see founders hiring agencies, marketing companies, paying them $3,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month. And the marketing agency says, we need at least 3 months ramp up time. And you've got nothing to show for it. And you burn through $30,000 of cash that you could have put into other things. And this is what founders get into trouble with so many times. I see it over and over again. It's heartbreaking. And I want to help you avoid making this mistake. So how do we do this the right way? And this is where I'm going to use the acronym PIS. This is where I pause, and I apologize profusely for this very unfortunate acronym. I couldn't find any other way to make it work. I went from PASS to PIS. It works. Thank you for bearing with me and my idiosyncrasies. I think this will be worth it. The PIS method starts the same way. You've got your problem, and then you've got your solution. Great start. It's the same as the PASS method. But here's where things are going to be a little different. First, you're going to put yourself in a mindset where you're ultimately going to serve your customer. You're not going to try to sell to them. You're going to serve. It's in this mindset that you will be able to pull off the rest of this PIS methodology, the rest of this framework. So with the intention to serve, think of being a servant leader to your customers. You're going to identify the ICP. What is the ideal customer profile? And you are going to segment all the people that have the problem, and you're going to determine and prioritize who is the ideal one that you want to target first. And that means you're doing research. You're immersing yourself in customer discovery. You're interviewing them. You're living their lives. You're empathizing with them. You are experiencing the solutions to the problem that they're using now before they know that you have a better solution. You're getting up close and personal. You're living and breathing their lives. You're getting in their shoes. You're understanding all their behaviors, demographics, psychographics, preferences, trends, all that behavioral stuff. You are getting right there, and you're understanding your ideal customer profile. And with that in mind, you can then start to seek information. Now, this is important here. Information that they need to understand their problem. This is not information to inform them about the solution. This is information to help them understand their problem. Because here's how it works. People search on the internet. They search on YouTube. Google's the #1 search engine in the world, but YouTube is the second most searched search engine in the world. People go and they try and solve their problems by accessing the free information out there. You want to know what that information is. Remember, you are not selling them the solution just yet. You are informing them about their problem. Let's give some examples right now. Very simply, if someone wants to buy a car and they have a problem, they don't know how to choose which car, guess what? The information they need is a guide on how to choose cars. If you're talking about finances or some fintech solution, information is all about financial wellness or reducing taxes or financial planning for retirement, whatever information they need to help them understand their problem better. Because if you get them that information, they are going to trust you that much more. You're building a relationship with them. One of the best moves that I put out there all the time is I use white papers. I use a white paper to help them understand the problem and present possible solutions that they can do on their own. I'm not selling them anything yet. I just basically educate. And people trust those that educate them, because if you're willing to give them information, well, what else can you offer them? You're building that relationship because you're serving. You are a servant leader. Don't hit them up with an offer yet. Just serve them first. Then what you're going to do is you're going to start testing. What do you test? The same outlets are channels, and you're going to test those channels a little bit at a time. $10 here, $100 here. So you might test social, you might test SEO, paid ads, influencers, and you might have to start by doing them yourself, manually, writing your own articles. But then after a while, you can start to say, well, I could pay $30 for an article or $40 an article, or I could pay someone to listen to me, interview me, and then use ChatGPT to break it up into articles, tweets, different white papers, or helpful information that you're going to put on your blog post. YouTube Shorts, scripts for TikTok, it doesn't matter, but you're going to test all of that, and then you're going to do these micro experiments, and you're going to see which ones work. And what are you looking for? You're looking for people who appreciate getting the information. You just want to attract them, and you want them to engage with you and say, you are a source of information that's going to be helpful to me. I'm now in your sphere. I'm subscribed to your newsletter. I'm hanging out with you on all your socials, in your discourse channel, or I'm subscribed to you on YouTube. I'm a follower on LinkedIn. All that stuff, you are doing it. You are measuring which one pulls the most traffic and starts building up your audience that resonate with the problem that you are trying to help them with. And then they're ready to hear the solution because they trust you. And as they begin to trust you, they'll start to explore and they'll start to research who you are and what you do. And you're going to leave little breadcrumbs such as, here's a link to my app. Try my app out. Or here, fill this out and you'll get a free survey or free consultation. Get invited to a free webinar and you're going to see how many people take the free stuff. It's not going to be all of them because a lot of people will just search for things for free and it's free out there, but they will pay you for implementation. This is so important. You'll give them free information that they could DIY and do it themselves, or they could go and use it to help them and their organization pick any type of product that will solve that problem. But they're going to come to you because you are helping them with implementation. And many people, customers, clients, users all across the board will pay you to help their life become more convenient, to remove friction, remove cognitive load, to help them make those decisions because they trust you. It's the same reason we go to friends and we ask for referrals to the mechanic or the plumber or the people that we use for our house cleaning. That's the way people make decisions. They want to do business with people they trust, and you're educating them and you're building up that trust. Once they get to your solution, they're going to sign up for something. They're going to indicate their interest. Then you're doing founder-led service, not founder-led sales. You're not going to be one of those salespeople that you are reluctant to become. It's founder-led service. You're going to get in there and say, how can I help you use this product? Can I onboard you? Can I give you a demo? Can I give you a step-by-step tutorial? I'm going to follow up and see how you did after the first week of using it. You are going to stay with them as much as you possibly can. You're going to understand which channels they respond to, and you've developed that relationship, and you're going to keep pinging them in terms of service. You'll be their servant leader. In other words, do things that don't scale. This comes from Y Combinator. Big companies aren't going to go get one-on-one with their customers. That's what you want to do because you're going to get up close and personal and you're going to learn so much from them and you'll be asking them more questions and they'll be giving you more ideas or more information about their problem. They're going to be telling you other aspects of the problem that are underserved or they're very dissatisfied because there are no solutions out in the marketplace. And you're going to be engaging them and having a continual conversation that will lead to continual improvement in your product. You don't have to scale right now. A lot of founders get caught up in this and they say, but Ed, this is not going to scale into the $100 million company that we need it to be. I understand, but how do you know what to invest in to get to that scale if you can't do it with one person? If you can sell to one person, get them to pay you $1 so that they're so satisfied they tell one other person, you can sell 1 million people and charge $1 million and make millions and millions more as that exponentially begins to expand because you understand how to deliver your product and serve them. Servant leadership better than your competitors. Then you will get to a point where you can scale. But how do you do this and how do you communicate with an investor? Well, here's what happens. As you serve them, you are going to start to develop a sequence. What's the sequence of the marketing tactics or the channels which they fall into? And then what's the sequence of onboarding, sales, getting that contract, making sure that there's no churn, that they stay with you? That sequence is what you will start to automate. And this is precisely what investors want to see. If you do these cycles enough where you're serving them, you will eventually know what sequence is the most impactful, the most profitable, and allows you to grow most exponentially. Now, let's put this all together in your go-to-market slide. Let's get this out of the way again. This is, in my humble opinion, only. There are many ways to do this, but this is how I would lay out a go-to-market slide if I was doing the PIS method. You want to share your sequence story with channels and metrics. It needs to be a story, not a list of tactics that you happen to pilfer from a marketing blog. It is a story, and you got channels and you got metrics to back it up, because by this time you should already have metrics to show that your PIS method is working. Now, let me give you my example straight from this YouTube channel. The first step in my go-to-market slide would be YouTube. So I'm building an audience, and take a look. That is my growth graph. That's the actual growth graph for this channel that you are seeing. I've been hacking away at this for the past 2 years, and then suddenly in the past few months, half a year or so, I've seen this exponential growth and up and to the right because I figured it out. I've been using the PIS method myself to grow this channel, and here you are watching, and you are being a part of it, and guess what? I'm showing investors. Now, your growth graph doesn't have to look as dramatic as that. Hopefully you do get there, but you need to show what metrics that you are developing from a week-to-week or month-to-month basis to show that you're really exploring this sequence. Then my step 2 is free pitch deck reviews to create an email list and find founders. This is literally what I started to do. Anytime a founder sends me a pitch deck for a review, I get their email address. That's the reason I capture pitch decks that way. And then I'm able to find founders that fit our accelerator and invite them in and encourage them so they do join our accelerator, which leads me to step 3, joining the startups community to get me as their advisor. And I tell this story. I say I started this YouTube channel and I started creating content around pitch decks and fundraising, especially for early stage founders. Here's my growth. It's clearly resonating. Look at my results. Next, I give free pitch deck reviews, and that qualifies the founders that are ready to take the next step. I'm sharing this story. So when they send me a pitch deck review, I create more content, which attracts more founders, and you can see this growth graph. And then I'm starting to see founders join me at startups.com. If that's you, and if you're joining us at startups.com, I appreciate it tremendously. This is the go-to-market strategy that I've been using, and investors are starting to pay attention, and it's working. Meanwhile, I get to keep putting out free content and experiment with all the information out there. You don't have to join me at startups.com. You can take all my content for free, and I'm learning a better go-to-market strategy as all the free users interact with my content. So it's a win-win. You get free content, I get an understanding of the market and a refinement to my go-to-market strategy, which eventually helps me raise funding. But then as I begin to monetize and founders start to go through the steps of my sequence, more monetization occurs, which I also show investors, goes to my unit economics, my financial model, and the investors are intrigued. That's if I even take any investment dollars, which, spoiler alert, I'm not taking any investment dollars because I don't need it, because the go-to-market strategy is working. Hey, how about that? And that's something that I just want to share that I think is the best part about this PIS method, is that if you do it right, you are not going to need investors. You can bootstrap your way to glory. Not to say your startup might not want investment. You could take investment dollars in to just pour gasoline on the fire and to grow. And maybe you're in a situation where you need that investment dollar to get into the next product or get to a point where you're releasing new features. But if you're making money like this and you don't need investors, why take on investors? Why share the equity? Why muddy up your cap table? There you have it. That's the go-to-market strategy and how you communicate it to investors. I'm going to put on the screen other videos I want you to watch that I think are going to be extremely helpful, and keep plugging away. I appreciate you spending the time. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.